I'm the Associate Dean for Liberal Arts here at Rider. I've been here for 21 years. Before this office, I was in the Department of Communication and Journalism, serving as chair for 6 years.
I'm Zach Davis. I'm a junior now at Rider University. I've been playing drums since, well, technically 4th grade, I guess, snare drum. But I've been playing drum set since about 7th or 8th grade, so about 8 years now.
After I came to Rider, so this is back in 1990 or so, I decided to buy myself a present to celebrate my new position, and I bought a drum set, never having had one before, ever really playing before, but just thought it'd be something I'd enjoy doing.
My parents just got me the set, and it was a surprise. I had no idea, and they signed me up for lessons with this guy who he basically taught me the basic rhythm, how to move 3 limbs at once.
I didn't realize I was a left-handed drummer at first. So I set the drum set up the way I thought it should be set up, and I couldn't play. And it was terribly frustrating. And then when I thought about the way I would tap, I realized I was always leading with my left hand, so I had to reset the kit up before I even realized I was a left-handed drummer.
I have a weird drumming style. I like funk. I love to play funk, but my drumming style is weird because my drum teacher taught me the basics and rhythm and so forth, but how I really learned to play was just plugging my iPod in and listening to songs, on, my entire iPod on shuffle, and I would just try to play along to the songs until I eventually developed skill, I guess.
I try to write new beats, and usually whenever I do, we have this one guy in the band who's been a musician forever. He's our new lead guitarist, and he's phenomenal. And I'll come up with this new beat, and I'll say, hey, check this out. He goes, oh, that's this from that song from that year. Been done. But I listen to music constantly, and when I hear a beat that sounds new to me, I'll go home and I'll try to replicate it as best I can, and then I'll play with it and try to offer a variation. I think the hardest thing for me, having started as late as I did, is coming up with new fills. Because I find myself always going back to the same fill, no matter how different the beat is. I really push myself to try to envision fills as being different, because otherwise I fall into the beat. Could be 10 different beats, but I don't find that I'm very experimental with the fills, and that's an ongoing challenge for me.
Chad Smith from the Chili Peppers, and he became my favorite when my drum teacher showed me a video of him going to some drum expo, and right before it, the drummer for Deep Purple did some wild solo on stage, and the entire crowd was so enthusiastic about it, and everyone cheered on. It was this awesome solo. It was the craziest thing ever. And Chad Smith walks on stage, and he sits down at his drum set, and everyone's waiting for him to do something crazy, and he goes for 3 minutes straight, and everyone was just completely silent, what are you doing? And he walked over to the mic and he said, if you can't play a basic rhythm and you can't play for the band, then you're nothing as a drummer. And he walked off stage. And I just thought that was the most badass thing for some reason, because it's so true. You can be flashy, you can be very in-your-face drumming, but if you can't play with the band, then what good are you?
Stuart Copeland was always my favorite drummer with the Police. I still am just amazed at how he played his drums, for technique and for his ability to take a real jazz approach into a sort of punk new wave rock band. I love what he does, but I can't do any of that and don't even try to. I've always loved Neil Peart. Neil Peart was probably the first power drummer I discovered, and his speed and his technique are phenomenal. But I think the drummers that I always really like best, and this is probably how I play, is drummers who just keep time, and you notice their drumming, but it doesn't stand out per se. So for me, Charlie Watts is like a living metronome. I don't think there are any songs he does where I say the drumming is fantastic, but neither is a song where the drumming just doesn't fit. And so he's always in the pocket, and I think that's my biggest challenge, is to just find that pocket and stay there.
Hands down, my favorite part about making music was that it would literally just come from nothing. Just the feeling of seeing one of your friends just play this riff and then you just automatically know exactly what to match it with, and then your other friend knows exactly what to match it with, and you're all kind of almost communicating on the, I don't know, you're just communicating with each other through music, kind of. It sounds crazy.
Never having been trained in the instrument, it's still an ongoing sort of negotiation between what I hear in my head and what I'm physically able to do. For me, it starts with the song. And so in our group, Run to Sandy, there's 5 of us, and we're all about writing at this point. And so we'll start with a song, and the question's always, how can I serve the song? You know, it's not how fast can I be, or how creative my role can be, or whatever it might be, but you know, how can I serve the song? And so in that regard, I'm really learning my instrument in the context of what we're recording or what we're writing. And in that case, I think simplicity serves me best, both with my ability and my confidence level, and letting the song do its thing without needing to power it or drive it. I have a lot of music knowledge, not formal training, but I listen to music all the time, so I get how it works. And spontaneously, I can play pretty well. I can find the beat, I can stay there, and I have no problem doing that. My confidence level changes when somebody writes something that's really intricate, or they give me, say, a drum machine sound that they want me to duplicate.
Yeah.
And then I feel the pressure to try to get as close to that as I can.
Yeah.
That's when I you know, am challenged, because it's less organic in that way. Yeah, so Run to Sandy has been together for about 6 years now. The name of the band comes from the neighborhood that most of us live in. We live in a neighborhood called Sandy Run 2. And so it was just a play on words. It started off as a goof. It started off as a bunch of older guys just hanging out and playing music, and it has evolved into now music on iTunes and gigs all over Philly and this area, and just a real passion, and something that we hope to continue doing until we can't. We were invited to do an acoustic set for a radio show, I guess about a year ago, and they wanted me to play just acoustic percussion, which I've never done, never practiced, and I was really against it. It was the one time I said, I really don't want to take that risk, because you're asking me to go on the radio and record something that we've never practiced, and I was really hesitant and reluctant. They did talk me into it, and it actually came out pretty good, so I learned a lesson that it's okay to take a risk, and it's okay to push yourself a bit, and let the chips fall where they may. What has become of Sandy Run?